Children's Champion, sponsored by Tykes Teaching Alliance. Ron and Barbara Cooper. Retired couple Ron and Barbara have been running playgroups for over 15 years, providing a valuable service to families in Gorba.
It started because my husband used to take our eldest granddaughter to a toddler group. Then I retired and more grandchildren came along, but we were, took them to toddler groups. As the leaders left, because inevitably, as they were mums and had a working life, they would go back to work. And there wasn't the consistency of leadership in the toddler groups that we went to. Not really leadership, sort of guidance it was really. So we stayed and took over the one on Huddersfield Road originally, and then did the one as well at Gorba, and then doing two during a week got to be a bit like hard work because it's voluntary. We just volunteer, no money involved. And so we left the one on Huddersfield Road and concentrated at Gorba. We carried on a tradition. Gorba had always had a toddler group from, well, the children that first went there are now in the 50s. So it's carrying on a tradition that's been going for a long time. Even some of the equipment that we had when we first started was the original stuff, but it fell down, it got too old. So we've just carried on from there, and we absolutely love, it was a joy to go, it really was.
It's the friendship, thinking that you're doing a good job. We work together okay, don't we?
Yeah.
Been at it a long time, and we get to know people. We're very mindful of young mums that come in, perhaps new to the area. Where do I go? And so we try to make them more than welcome, don't we?
And we, over the years, we see people. In fact, I was talking to somebody who was having a party at the church hall the other day, and she said, I'm still friends with the people I met here. And I thought, oh, that's really nice. That's really, really lovely. And we're mindful. We're not their best friends, but it's lovely to have their, their friendship while they're there, and then bye-bye, off to work, or have another baby, or move, and that's it. But then somebody else comes along. We've got a new little lot that have appeared this time.
Each summer.
Lots of them go to nursery or to school.
Yes.
So we...
and we pick up the new ones, don't we?
Pick up the new ones.
Yes.
That are sort of just over a year old. So if you've got any babies hanging around, you can send them along.
Martin and Jackie Sorden. The Exodus project began as a single youth club, but has grown into a vital community resource over the past 24 years, all thanks to dedicated founders Martin and Jackie Sorden.
Well, I'm Martin. I co-founded the Exodus Project Children's Charity with my wife Jackie 25 years ago now, and over the last 25 years our aim has been to get children and young people living in less advantaged circumstances on the right path in life. We target the less advantaged communities, and there's plenty of those in Barnsley, and we do activity clubs, weekend camps, home visits, community partnership activities and volunteer development, and we've got hundreds and hundreds of stories we could tell of lives that I think have been impacted during that time.
I think going back to the beginning really is we both were youth workers in our local church, and it was quite a middle class church, and we used to take the youth group away to concerts, camps and things like that. But where I lived in particular in Barnsley, I'd often look out of the window and I'd see children playing on the streets at all times of night, really young children, and we kind of thought, there's nothing out there for them, we ought to be doing something for people that haven't got the same facilities available to them as our young people in church did. And that's really why we started doing the clubs.
Yeah, as 25 years suggests, what we absolutely don't want to be is a here today, gone tomorrow kind of organisation. We see that kind of all the time, so I think the thing, again, I think we're most proud of is the consistency and commitment that, as a charity, I'm not talking about us personally, although we've led it, everybody who's come to work for us and volunteer for us get the fact that we're in these communities for the long term to build relationships. As Jackie says, it's not about getting kids off the streets and out of mischief for a couple of hours a week. That's the easy bit. That's important, but the challenge is to build those long-term relationships, so when the kids get to their perhaps more challenging, troublesome teenage years, when they might be getting into trouble at the outside the bus station or the corner shop and causing mischief, they're not there. They're with trusted adults and peers who they've built a relationship with, and they're likely to make positive lifestyle choices rather than negative ones. So essentially that's our work in a nutshell, and as we've said, we do it through the activity clubs. There's 15 minutes or so during the 2-hour club session where we'll do a teaching activity. This week we're talking about racism, we talk about respect for the elderly, caring for the environment, healthy eating, healthy living. So there's a different theme every week, and we'll use videos and puppets and drama and different ways of getting across an important educational message, as well as having all the fun and all the fun activities and games and crafts as well. So it's a fun job.
Sarah Greenfield. Sarah runs the Dern Kids Youth Club. Yet she says the work is not a challenge, as the wheelchair user who faces many health issues herself is inspired every day to go out and look after the kids in her area.
We were called Great Mates before, in a different building up at the business centre in Thurnscoe. They were there for some time before I joined. I joined around 12 years ago. A couple of years later, unfortunately, Great Mates shut, which, it had an effect on area and on kids. So a couple of years later, we decided to reform as Dern Kids Outdoor Activity Group in the Alton Road Community Centre in Thurnscoe. We've been there about 8 years now. There's families from all sorts of backgrounds. Some are a bit well off, some are not so well off, and we have to support them in more ways than just youth service, and that could be like counselling, counselling parents when they're having a difficult time, or it's much more than the kids, it's the family, the community, the Dern. The biggest thing for me, I would say, is walking in building at little ones run up to you and hug you so tight, and I just think, that is lovely. It's such a rewarding job. I mean, I've been out in my wheelchair many times, and kids will be like, I've not seen you in a wheelchair before, Sarah. I'm like, yeah, because at youth club, the car is literally outside the door, so I can just step in the door. I've got a swivelly chair that I sit on, and they're like, I ain't seen you in that before, I didn't know. And then they'll say, have you hurt your legs, or have you hurt your back? So then we have conversations about people who may not always seem disabled, but when you see them in a different light, they have physical. So like myself, I've got a condition called fibromyalgia and sciatica in the back. They're my main physical disabilities. Mental health wise, I am an extremely nervous person. So I was bitten by a dog a long time ago, which caused a lot of mental health issues, PTSD, severe anxiety, and I went down a really dark road. And keeping working with these kids, although I have my own children, these other kids made me feel lighter, so it didn't feel as much of a burden. Along with the medical help that I received, these kids kept me going. So they were so happy to see me, they were running up to me, giving me a hug and stuff like that. And apart from my own family, that were the thing that kept me going.